During taking off and landing, you might experience ear pain. That's what my sister told me when we were packing my things for my first flight. How many of us here have ridden an airplane? All of us. In the Philippines, it is not common for average families to ride an airplane unless they are working outside the country or they live in provinces that take few days to be reached by water or land transportation. I was already 25 years old when I first ridden an airplane. You know where my first destination was? It's in North America, Bermuda Island.
Ooh,
There's no direct flight to Bermuda Island. The travel agent gave me two options. One is fly via USA, which is the shorter way, or fly via London, which is the longer way. I didn't have a US visa, so I chose to fly via London. There's no direct flight to London either. So my itinerary was fly from Manila to Doha, Qatar, Doha, Qatar to Gatwick, London, then Gatwick, London to Bermuda Island. 3 takeoffs, 3 landings, total of 18 hours flight in 3 different planes that took me almost 2 days before I reached Bermuda. They all said that I was very brave to go to Bermuda, even that I didn't know anyone there except for my mother's friend, that I've only met on my island. I also knew that it would be very hard for me to be away from my family, especially from my mother, but I wanted to try something different during that time. I wanted to know the feeling of other overseas Filipino workers who can bear the pain of being away from their families just to give them a good life. I also believe that this opportunity will expand my skills and talents. So when we were parting, even if my heart was in pain, I didn't show it to my family. I showed them a strong woman that could achieve her goals in a matter of time. On the plane during taking off, I noticed that the lady beside me was uneasy. The baby too on the other side was crying so loud that as if he wanted milk badly. I just observed them. Then a few minutes later, I understood why they were so uneasy. My ears were also hurting. Oh, this must be the ear pain that my sister was telling me. I looked for my chewing gum. I couldn't find it in my pocket, in my handbag, none either. So even if I didn't have a chewing gum, I acted to have one. At first, it was like a simple chewing. Then later, it was like a big cat yawning. You know what I mean? Just to release the ear pain.
Oh.
When I was that in the middle of the pain, and I realized it was just only the beginning, then 5 more to come. And then I arrived in Bermuda at night time. The following morning, I phoned my employer. I arrived to inform them that I arrived safely, but I needed to take first day off. Of course, I couldn't say no. So my mother's friend and her husband asked me to go out instead. They first took me to downtown where offices and shops are located. Buildings there are short, 2 stories, 5 stories, not like buildings, not as tall as buildings in USA, in Hong Kong, because they want to preserve the nice sceneries of Bermuda. And then they drove me to different places, nice beaches, nice sceneries, indeed a paradise. Even if I was that in beautiful place, there were times that I thought of quitting and thought of just going back home. But when I reminded myself of my goals, I easily forgot those thoughts. 6 months later, after my first flight, I flew again, and the destination was the Philippines. Then after that, I decided to fly home each year. Then it became more frequent when I moved to Hong Kong. Now, I've lost the count of number of times I've ridden an airplane and experienced ear pain. I've also forgotten how many nights I fall asleep after crying because I miss my family. What I know is after going through these pains, I will be in paradise. I will be with my family. I will see nice places. And in time, I will